Hello there and welcome to another match reaction episode from 4Tims our podcast. It's myself, Darren, and with Andy and Tony today. You join us about half an hour after Celtic were held to a goalless draw at Easter Road. As we're recording before the other mob play, so as it stands, Celtic are 4 points clear. I know that will likely be only 1 point when you get to listen to this, but Tony, it was a very disappointing and I would say unlike Celtic performance, but a lot of people seem to have, like the performances we've put in the last few weeks, sort of seen it coming. What was your thoughts on the day's game?
Oh, it's definitely been coming. I mean, you look at the performances in recent weeks. Dundee last week was quite sloppy. If it wasn't for a late winner, we would have dropped points there. Aberdeen away, as much as we praised the team to come back, again, fell off and conceded 2 sloppy goals when we're on cruise control. Even earlier, since we've come back for the break, the Hearts game, we were sloppy as well. I don't think we've put in a complete performance as Motherwell away. And you put in the 2 Bodo Glimt matches as well. We've been well off it. But I think we got what we deserved today. I thought it has been coming. There's only so long you can score last-minute winners and ride your luck. I mean, we were well due to drop points. I think we're just lucky that regardless what happens today, we'll still remain top of the league. We're obviously recording this before Rangers kick off. Fully expect them to win. But if it wasn't for them dropping points to Dundee United last week, we would have been sitting second. So it's a bit concerning, I must admit. I expected a response after Bodo Glimt. He's rested players deliberately with an eye on this game, I assume, and it was very sloppy. I think the midfield was atrocious. Rogic should have been put sooner. He probably shouldn't have played. Hatate was miles off it. I think Callum McGregor's been poor for a period of time as well. He's the captain. I expect so much more from him. I think sometimes his passing's really sloppy. We've seen examples of that today. I thought Clancy was hopeless, but it's not his fault that we've dropped points. So, no, overall, I think 0-0 was a deserved result. They didn't really create it neither. They didn't look great. They managed to stop us. I thought Riley was okay when he came on. I think, obviously, everybody overheard Andy Walker talking about disasters and catastrophes. We were never going to win every game, but it's not so much the dropping points that worries me. It's the kind of trend of poor performances that just seem to be going on and on. We need a massive response against St Mirren on Wednesday night, and then we've got a massive game against Livy, a place we've struggled. So I think I said last week we had that 3 points gap, which gave us the ability to drop points. Didn't want to drop points the next game, but I guess that's the team have done well to build that lead, but they've thrown it away very quickly. So I think I've seen Ange come out and there's a lot of talk on Twitter saying that the team were excellent. I've got to think that that's just him protecting the players. I don't think he actually believes that. If he does believe that, then we're in massive trouble because they weren't excellent. They were really sloppy. Jota's been off it for a while. Some of his shots, I think, are still travelling through the air just now. So, no, disappointed, but there's 10 games to go. We're a point in front. We just need to get back to winning form and start play. We know they can play right good football, so they need to get back to it. They can't. It's very easy to just throw in a towel and get. I don't want to get too mental. I was obviously raging with the result, but I think we all knew this was going to be a tough title race. Rangers have had a bit of form, and you've seen obviously in their European games as well. They're not a terrible side as much as we would like to think that. So it's 10 games to go. There's a point in it. We've still got 2 big players to come back in Kyogo and David Turnbull. But as much as we need to get back to winning ways right away, we need to get back to playing good football, and the team's well capable of it. Players like O'Reilly and Hatate, I know they've been off the boil, but the early signs of these guys were good players. I still think there's a player in Maida. I know he's getting unbelievable stick. I think just at times the pressing he does, he presses at such a high speed, and then you get Rogic who's then pressing next to him. It just looks so disjointed at times. But no, I don't want to. I think this is when we need to kind of stick by them. I know I'm usually one for getting off my head, and I think they must know themselves. They've been well below par for for about 5 games. So drop points happened, but the performance was unacceptable. They need to get a grip of themselves and go again against St Mirren.
I think that's what it was for me. That's really annoyed me. I'm not completely raging because we were 6 points behind in the league when we came back for international break, and we turned that around very quickly. So you've got to give the players credit, and like you said, we built that bit of leeway, and you were hoping that you would have that in the bag for a few weeks at least before you did drop points. I think I've always been pretty consistent, and what I've said is that we were only going to go winning every game until the end of the season. So the fact that it came just a week after we got that 3-point lead is obviously disappointing. Look, I know you keep saying it's down at 1 point, and it most likely will be. Hopefully we do get a favour later, but I get what you're saying about Ange protecting the players, but he came out after Rafe, and I don't know if it's just because we were on that great run of form that he felt free to come out and criticise the players for their performance, because I thought from the keeper all the way through Maeda, I thought the team were terrible. I thought Hibs pretty much controlled the first half, especially the first half an hour, and I don't think that we really got going, and the midfield looked an issue again. The defence was sort of, they seemed to be taking just shots of fouling that boy that was playing out left for Hibs, and I felt like for how important the fullbacks have been, I thought that Taylor and Juranovic were pretty poor today. I didn't think they really contributed much, and I'll go on in the midfield because I thought Rio Hatate was absolutely shocking today. I know he started so well in his Celtic career, and I know a few people had sort of been questioning him recently, but I thought he just seems so far off at the day, and even there was that bit at the end when he sort of slipped when he was trying to stop it from going out for a throw in, sort of typified his performance. And but he's not alone. Rogic again, I thought was poor first half. Cal McGregor, even at the end when I think it was the last kick of the ball and he sort of miscontrolled it and it allowed Hibs to clear it and the whistle to go. Everybody was just poor. I thought when Matt O'Reilly came on that sort of press and generally how we played, it sort of did pick up a bit, and so I would expect him to come back in now. But it was just really poor. And Abada, I know he had a few chances. He had the one in the first half where he took it round Macy and then hit the side net, and then one in the second half when he hit the side net and when he got on the end of Jota's cross. But apart from that, I didn't think that he really was in the game. Jota for me is becoming a bit of an issue. I know he got 2 goals up at Pittodrie, but I think since he's come back from injury, he's not really kicked his own arse. And it was fucking reminiscent of Ryan Christie and Chris Commons today, the amount of times that he would just cut inside and blaze a shot wildly over the bar. And I think the last one he did, you knew what was going to happen before he done it. He just cut in, beat about 2 guys, and then I can't remember who it was, it might have been Cal McGregor or Matt Riley, but he had somebody just to the side of him, and he rather than lay him off, he just put one into the Easter Road stand. And it's just really, it's exactly what you say, Tony. It's the performances that are really worrying me. If we were playing well and Matt Macy was making 6, 7, 8 great saves, then you can say, aye, all right, we're creating the chances, and it's just not going in. But we didn't really ever look like we were going to get that goal. I know there was a couple of crosses towards the end, but for the first 60, 65 minutes, every cross we put in was right into Matt Macy's hands. And Dyson Maeda is not the tallest, and as you say, I think the criticism he's been getting is a bit over the top, and he does look right his heart out. And in terms of the press, he'll never let you down in that aspect. But I think you could see how frustrated he was in terms of to get a touch of the ball, he was having to drop it wide. And I know there's a lot of talk about what position he will play. I think he clearly looks like he's more suited out in the left, in my opinion. And we're playing him up front out of necessity with guys like Jackie Marcus. He was out with illness today. Kyogo's still a few weeks away, and obviously even Albion Ajetti's no fit either. But it was a really poor performance for me, I know, from Celtic today. And I know that I've said about Matt Riley, and I've seen a lot of people talking about Ange saying, "Oh, does he know he's got 5 substitutions to make?" I don't know who else that people would have wanted brought off the bench. I don't see if you'd have brought Beaton or Forrest or Ralston on. I don't see what positive impact they would have had. the only one I would have maybe looked to would have maybe been Adigucci. I think he's looked decent when he's come on, but apart from that, I don't really get the criticism of Ange not using these substitutions because I just don't think the quality was there today. And I know even people when they speak about Karamoko, I think he's really closely. He's just recently returned from injury and like we were only getting much joy in the wide area, so it wouldn't. He would maybe have been the one. Him and Adigucci, I would have maybe looked to have used, but you've got to trust the manager at this point. It's a disappointing day, but I tweeted earlier. It's over 5 months now since we lost that game at Livingston, and I know we've had a few speed bumps in the road with games like Dundee United and Livy at home, and then obviously St Mirren away in the end of the day. So it's not been completely smooth sailing, but we have found massive consistency, and these results they seem to only happen every couple of months, and we're now 10 games away from the season being over, or the league, 10 games in the league anyway, and I think we just need to really reassess what's going wrong, and as you say, get back to the way where you're believing in your beliefs. Like the one thing that did really frustrate me today was I think it was the 89th minute we got that free kick and at our own corner flag, and Joe Hart nearly put us in a massive trouble. And that would, like, I know we like to play it from the back, but that was just a ridiculous decision between him and Starfelt and Carter Vickers. The ball should have clearly just been launched. And as I say, look, well, whatever happens at the end of the day, we're going to be top of the league. It's still very much in our own hands. We've got 10 cup finals to go in terms of the league, and we just need to go again on Wednesday with the St Mirren game. But Andy, I know I've ranted on for a bit there. What did you make of the day?
We were obviously poor. Very pedestrian at times. It's just felt there was a sort of lack of cutting edge, and that's not even just in the sort of final third in terms of the sort of front three. It's even the middle of the park and things like that. I know McGregor's been mentioned for being sort of poor and slack on the ball, but Hatate as well, who again I'm a big fan of, but he was very sort of none of them, even Rogic when he was on next to them as well, none of the three of them really had that sort of cutting edge midfielder sort of vision that's so synonymous with them that you just sort of expected them. And usually you get that when one of them's a wee bit maybe it's not happening, the other two will pick up or anything like that. It's odd. I'm not 100% sure exactly sort of where it's went wrong. Because obviously Hibs were trying to play it for the back as well, and we just weren't even pressing with as much success as when we have both companies sort of expecting no for Ange sides, but we were obviously poor. And I think it was you that mentioned it, Dan, and we've already said it in the group chat and all. Listen, it was very, very unlikely that we were going to go and win every game the rest of the season, and that's not an excuse. And I don't want it to come across as an excuse for the team, but I think at the same time, it was going to happen sooner or later that we did sort of falter. Tony said it as well. There's only so long and so many games where you can just get last minute winners, and maybe it's a good thing. Maybe it'll sort of spark us into life in a different way with the European results, haven't they? Maybe like sort of dropping the points in the leagues a wee bit of a wake up call, and it maybe for players that have sort of, I don't know, maybe get a bit casual in the way they've went about their business. Yota's been poor recently across the board. Obviously McGregor was a bit off for the day. Rogic's performances have sort of dipped again. He looked like Rogic under Lennon today. Hatate's fell away a wee bit. It might do us a favour, and that's what you've got to hope happens. I think again, what Ange says about us playing really well, I do think there's a huge element of sort of protecting the players in there, because I don't think he believes that, and I think and I really do back him to sort of beginning there and making that clear, making it abundantly clear that that's not good enough. We're not good enough. That has to change, or they won't be in the team. They won't be starting. I think we will see changes come the St Mirren. I think we've got next midweek, if I'm not mistaken. I think we will see some changes in there, and you've got to just back your team to bounce back, to come back for it, come back improved, and ready to go for the remainder of the games in the league. But we were poor. We've struggled. Did we get through sort of periods? I mean, under Rodgers we did struggle Easter Road. I know we won the last couple, 2-1 and 3-1. But prior to that, it was a place that we have struggled at, even when we were sort of winning trebles and all the rest of it every year. So it's a bit of both for me. It's obviously somewhere where we've not had the most amount of success going to Livingston, but as long as it doesn't become a habit and it doesn't sort of, I think we've gave ourselves enough protection in the fact that we turned around. I think it was a 6-point deficit. Whatever happens with their game doesn't impact us. We said it before that it's all about us now. Going forward, the minute we took that sort of 3-point lead against them, because know that you can never really afford to drop points, but no matter what they done in their game, even if we lost today, they weren't really going to leapfrog us because the goal difference was having an extra point. So we could always afford ourselves to have that after. So all we need to do now is just put that down. Right, it's the one. It's a wee after. It happens. It's football, and then we go again. We pick up and improve. And again, if it doesn't happen, then it's obviously an entirely different conversation. But I'm willing to put it down to that, Dan, that this will hopefully be the turning point for the team, and we pick up again, and performances start to go back to what we sort of got used to expecting under Ange.
Aye, certainly. And Tony, we'll just move on to St Mirren games. We'll know what to make this a long episode. We come up against them. It's at home. St Mirren's got a new manager. I know they lost yesterday to Hearts, but they were down to 10 men for a large period of that game. They've been going all right this season. How do you see that one coming? Is it the sort of, I think any game at home pretty much would be the perfect game that you'd want after a day like today? It's just one that we need to respond and sort of look to bounce back and really show that it was just a sort of one-off, and as you say, they get back to playing well, never mind getting results.
I think they'll need a quick start on Wednesday night, or the fans will get their back. I think there'll be a lot of pressure going into it. Rangers will be playing at the same time as us. I think they're away to St Johnstone. So I think the team needs to come right out of the blocks, needs to move the ball, need to move it quicker, but move it slicker as well. Every slack pass will be fucking magnified with the home crowd. I think there's a lot of pressure on them, but I think it's a good opportunity for the team to really show what they're made of and go out and win the game. It's a must-win. A performance is a must as well. If we scrape by and we play poor, then it gives me no hope get into the game after it. But I'd like to think that this team have got a bit about them, and they're well overdue getting somebody a tanker at home. I know we beat Rangers 3-0, which was great, but we're due to give somebody a proper doing. So it's a massive game. Looking forward to it. After that, there'll only be 9 games left. So this is what a title race is. There's a lot of twists and turns to come, but if we're going to win the league, then you need to beat St Mirren at home.
And Eddie, who would you be looking to bring in, or how would you line up?
Hart, Juranovic, Vickers, Starfelt, Taylor, McGregor, O'Reilly, Hattati, Maida, Jota, Abada, which is quite similar to what we had today. And then if it's not working, I would probably take, I'd probably try and bring Ideguchi on and move McGregor up the field a bit. And I've said for a while I'd try and give Karamoko a bit a go off the bench just to see if he's got anything to prove. I mean, if we're winning quite comfortably, I'd like to see him get a chance. The manager showed you the day that he's lost faith in Forest. Lost faith in Forest because he didn't bring him on off the bench. I think he only made one sub, which tells you what he thinks of Forest and probably what he thinks of Dembele as well. So I can't imagine he's got much hope for them. So that would be my team, which is that the exact? I think that may be the exact same team today, apart from Rogic. So I still think the team's got a lot of quality in it, but they need to up their game massively.
Andy, what about you? What you think about Wednesday night? As I said, St Mirren did lose yesterday, but they were down to 10 men. It was Connor Ronan that got sent off, so it was one of their most important players. How do you see Wednesday going?
Ronan will be a big miss for them. He's actually a good player. I quite like him. But they've obviously lost their manager in Goodwin, so it probably came as a surprise to a lot of the players with the way it went. With Aberdeen getting rid of Ayers, and obviously he was one of the sort of top candidates for it. So it's obviously like it was a shock to their team. So they could be vulnerable, I suppose. But regardless of what's going on with him, really, you should be looking at St Mirren at home is 3 points and a chance to sort of put the team back in the correct path. I'm no quite. A lot of people are sort of panic stations, and if you go online, you know, it's like you scroll through Twitter, there's people having a fucking meltdown. But I'm not there yet. I think I back your team, I back the manager to pick it back up and get us back in that path. I do think come full time against St Mirren, we'll be sort of settled again. We'll come away with a positive performance, hopefully a couple of goals, and I just move on to the game after that. I really do. I'm no worried about the game. I'm no thinking that it's just going to be another sort of hangover. Get into it where the team just carry on the performance and look very lacklustre. I fancy us to win by a couple of goals. I know I predicted us to do that today. Again, I've got to agree with Tony. I think we're due to really just batter somebody. And for the sort of football that we work on and the football that we try to play, just to click together at some point, and it has been due to happen. And home's probably it's more likely happen at home than it is away from home. Let's face it. But I'm confident getting into the game. I think it'll be a chance for us to just get another 3 points on the board. But the big thing for me is really to get a good performance in. I'd rather see us sort of, even if it's 1-0, just see a really good team performance where we just completely dominate the ball in possession, and we just look to be zipping the ball about again, and players look confident and happy playing that way, and just see pressing with success again. It's pressing as a unit. That's what sort of it's faltered a wee bit for me, even away to Bodo, and then again today. It didn't feel as if it was that sort of unit that was doing it together. And I've got to agree as well. I would have O'Reilly in for the start. I think, fuck it, I love Tom Rogic just like everybody else does, but I think he's more effective at pressing with the team. After ball, I think there's a sort of don't want to say harder working, but I think it suits him a bit more to play that way. So I'd have him in for the start, and hopefully, as I say, 3 points and a big performance for the team.
Aye, Andy, just one thing I wanted to bring up. Obviously, Georgios Giakoumakis was missing the day through illness. And says if he's fit and ready to come back in on Wednesday, would you be bringing him back in? And I know it seems quite simple in terms of would it be him or Maeda, but I don't know about you. But for me, I would probably be looking to play Maeda at left rather than Jota after today's performance.
I mean, there's definitely an argument for it. Jota's been poor, really, really poor. Didn't do anything today, as you said. He was just trying to cut in and shoot. So you're looking, seeing what's really happened with his performances. And again, listen, you can't expect young boy in and loan to be sort of 10 out of 10 every week. He was poor against Bodo at home as well. So I think there's definitely an argument for it, or even Abada, another one. Maybe give him a rest and you put Jota out, right, and Maeda out on the left, and then you've got Abada to bring off the bench. So I think there's an argument there for it, Don. I've got to say, I do think if Giakoumakis is fit and he's sort of hopefully recovers from his illness, whatever it is, hopefully, to be honest, I think he will be right back in, even if it's sort of to bring Maeda off, who I think gets an unfair amount of criticism. I think it's just because he's no Kyogo, to be honest with you, but they're different players, different styles of play. But that's a discussion for another day. But I think whatever happens, Giakoumakis, if fit enough and well enough, he'll be back into the starting 11. But it wouldn't surprise me to see Maeda go left, because he's had a bit of success, and let's face it, he's a different type of option, because he will face up defenders and he will just run at them because he knows he's got the pace to get by them, and obviously he's in behind and he's a sort of effective in the press as well. So it wouldn't surprise me, and I'd probably support bringing Giakoumakis right back in.
Aye, it's just something I was thinking about while you were speaking there. But I think Wednesday's get the sort of recipe to be a tricky game. I think, as Tony said, it's one of the ones. If we don't start well, then the crowd's going to get on Celtic's back, just because it's a title race and like your sort of nerves are heightened to an extreme. So I think I say every game pretty much, but the first goal is absolutely vital. I mean, God forbid what the atmosphere would be like if we did go behind on Wednesday night, especially with them playing at the same time against a team that's towards the bottom of the league. But I think Ange will make a few changes, and I think it will be in the midfield area. For me, I'd keep Callum McGregor in there, but I'd probably go with Adeguchi and Matt O'Reilly. I think that, as I said, I think a big issue that we've had recently is that the midfield looks very pedestrian and a bit slow. So I think just a couple of new faces in there would sort of brighten it up. And I don't know how far away Turnbull is. I'm not talking about him for Wednesday, but hopefully he's back in not too long a time, because as much as he frustrates people as well, just having options in there is something I think that we really need to improve on. And then, as I said, I've not been impressed with Jota since he returned from injury. So for me, it would be, I'd probably go with Jota, Maeda, Giakoumakis and Abada. If Giakoumakis is healthy, as you say, but I'm hopeful that we do get the result. I think anyone will do, but hopefully we do play well, and sort of, if we're able to gear a team of doing it, just gives you that sort of confidence, and we'll come on to every game on the episode after the St Mirren game. But that's one that fans have just came to fear, no matter what season it is or who the manager is. So I think we really need to sort of go into that on top of the table. But I'll go first with predictions. I think it'll be tetchy, but I think we'll win 2-0, and I think Matt O'Reilly and Maeda will get the goals. Tony, what's your prediction?
I'll go for a good 2-0. Good performance, and 2-0. I'll go for Hatate double.
And are you going to make it a hat trick of 2-0s?
I'll say 3. I'm confident we'll bounce back for this. I think it's this wee sort of phase we're in is just a blip. The European games have fell in it as well, and I think we'll bounce back. And this will be the start of that positive performance. 3-0, job done. And I think, who's got to score? We'll go for O'Reilly, Giakoumakis and Maeda.
Yeah, as I said, we will be back after the St Mirren game. Just because it's a home game and some are quite late getting home, it'll probably be Thursday night that comes out. But we will speak to you after that, and hopefully we're back to discuss a win, and hopefully Celtic will still be top of the table. That's all we can sort of hope for with 10 games to go. But if you've made it this far, thanks very much for listening, and cheers.